Thanks for joining us again, Steve. And you've been taking a look at a different television. It's the Samsung S95B, which is also a QD-OLED panel. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. I think Simon's done a great job there of explaining how QD-OLED works. I won't repeat what he said, but as he did point out, it's a Samsung technology. So they're making TVs with QD-OLED, and they've sold panels to Sony, who are also making TVs with QD-OLED. So I think an interesting comparison would be how the Samsung compares to the Sony. And the first thing I can say is they are considerably cheaper. So the 55-inch S95B is 1899. And the 65 inches, for the one that I had in for review, is 2799, which is basically the same price as the 55-inch Sony. So big difference in price. Same panel, so that's no difference at all. So basically the difference between the two TVs really is in terms of cosmetics and in terms of the other features that they offer. So performance-wise, the S95B is excellent, superb TV. All the things you'd expect from an OLED, the deep blacks, the fantastic contrast performance, the precise highlights in HDR. Also very bright, well over 1,000 nits when I tested it, which is excellent for an OLED TV. And as Simon mentioned, you get really rich, pure colors thanks to the quantum dot filters. It's interesting. He made a comment about Samsung not being very nice about OLED for the last decade. And interestingly, in their marketing, they don't refer to it as a QD-OLED. They just refer to it as an OLED. So they aren't making a big deal about the fact it's a different tech or a different approach to the technology. But it is, as he said, it is slightly different from say, LG's OLED TVs. But yeah, it's got a great picture. The upscaling and image processing is superb. It's one of Samsung's strong points. Design-wise, it's a very sleek, attractive TV. It doesn't look vastly different from the LG and other manufacturers, but I like it. I think it's simple. It's got a nice small stand that you can easily fit onto a smaller surface. You can be easily wall-mounted. It comes with Samsung's Tizen Smart platform, which I really like. It's got a comprehensive selection of streaming apps. So regardless of who you're subscribing with, whether it's Netflix or Amazon or Disney Plus or Apple, whoever, they're all there, plus all the UK catch-up services. It's a slick platform that's easy to navigate and to use, gives you plenty of recommendations. My only criticism would be, as I alluded to earlier in this live show, that they don't support Dolby Vision. Samsung don't support Dolby Vision on any of their TVs, and they haven't up until now. Quite why is a bit of a mystery. I think they don't like the idea of a third party being involved in their tech. But to be honest, I think they're probably losing sales because people do tend to tick boxes when they're buying new TVs. And given that most of the streaming services do use Dolby Vision to deliver HDR, people think, well, I want that on my TV. So it's a strange choice by Samsung, and I think it might be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit with it. But it doesn't support Dolby Vision. It does support HDR10, which is a sort of the basic version of HDR, and HLG, which is used for broadcast HDR. And it does support HDR10 Plus, which is Samsung's alternative to Dolby Vision, but most people don't use it, so it's not widely supported, unfortunately. Interestingly, in terms of the audio side of things, it's not the best TV for audio, I have to say. Although I would recommend if you're buying a really good TV like this, you should also invest in a soundbar and give it a really good sound system. It can output Dolby Atmos to say a soundbar via EARC. It's HDMI output. But it doesn't decode it internally. And although Samsung claim it has their object tracking sound system, it has nothing like the number of speakers that you'll find in their high-end LCD TVs, in their QLED TVs. So that's something to be aware of. Unlike the Sony, all 4 HDMI inputs are HDMI 2.1. So whether no matter how many gaming consoles you're using, you can take full advantage of that. So that's a definite play. I don't understand why Sony only do 2 out of 4 on flagship TVs, but on the Samsung, all 4 support it. It doesn't have the One Connect box, which is a feature you'll find on some of Samsung's other flagship TVs. That's quite a cool feature where it means your connections are all separate and there's just one cable going up to the TV. It doesn't have that. All the connections are actually on the TV itself. It does come with the solar-powered remote control, which is great because it means you don't have to change the batteries. It's more eco-friendly. Overall, it's a very slick, very competitively priced package that performs extremely well, and it includes filmmaker mode, something that's also not on a Sony, and that does exactly what it says on the tin. basically it's a picture preset that's been developed by filmmakers, so that when you select that, you're seeing what they want you to see in terms of their color accuracy, in terms of things like turning off motion smoothing so it doesn't look like cheap video, things like that. So I've got to say, overall, it's a great package. It's very competitively priced for what is essentially a new tech. And it looks cool, and it's very, very intuitive to use. So a big thumbs up from me.
And just one last quick question about this one. When Simon reviewed the Sony just now, he said that it had ALLM, VRR, HGig, all the magic abbreviations, specifically for gamers. So you've mentioned using this telly for watching television and for watching films. Is it also suitable for gamers?
It absolutely is. It has all of the features that Simon's just mentioned. Plus, it has an incredibly low input lag, 9.2 milliseconds. So, blink and you miss it. That's if you're a gamer, this is a great TV for gaming. Not only does it have all the gaming features and a very low input lag, it also has a thing called a game bar, which shows you all of your various gaming settings in one easy to see sort of a bar on the bottom of the screen you can bring up during the game and then get rid of once you're finished looking at it. So I think this is a superb gaming TV. And my only caveat would be, as with all OLED TVs, if you are a big gamer who's prone to, say, 12-hour marathon gaming sessions, then do be careful of not having a static image up for too long, because whilst these days screen burn is very rare, you can get some image retention on an OLED sometimes. So just bear that in mind. But otherwise, this is definitely a top drawer TV for gamers.
Okay, and one last practical question. So earlier on, we were talking about the size of televisions. We've had a question in from someone living in central London in a small flat. So my sofa is 3 metres from the wall. What size TV would you say is sensible at that distance?
Well, the general guideline is viewing distance is 1.5 times the diagonal size of the screen. So if it was 50 inches, then you'd be technically 75 inches away. But obviously, because resolution is much higher these days, you can sit very close to a TV without seeing any kind of pixel structure. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. I only sit about 3 foot from the screen when I'm testing TVs, and I've had 85-inch TVs in for review, which initially it just seemed ludicrous, but you very quickly get used to them. And then when they get taken away and you put back a 55-inch TV, it looks like a postage stamp. So I wouldn't worry too much about, like I said at the beginning of the show, go for the biggest TV you can afford and you can physically fit in the room. But the more immersive it is, in my opinion, the better the experience, particularly if you're a gamer. I mean, if you're immersed in the game, you can really enjoy it. So technically the rule is 1.5 times the screen size, but I would push that if I was you. I'd go big. Go big. That's always my advice when it comes to TVs.
And if you're going to sit that close to a big TV to test it, the peripheral vision must be kicking in. But thank you very much for your practical advice and your review of the Samsung to go with the review of the Sony that Simon just did. So thank you very much for joining us and doing that.